What's up and welcome to the Parent's Guide to Gaming. My name is Andrew, and today I want to give some recommendations for kid and family games that are outside of Nintendo. Nintendo has done a great job of creating a ton of games that are targeted mainly at kids and families. This doesn't mean that their games aren't for everyone, but they have definitely chosen the path of family-friendly with game franchises like Mario, Kirby, Pokémon, and more. But what if you don't have any Nintendo products in your home? What if you have an Xbox or a PlayStation? Well, I'm going to give you some recommendations for games outside of the Nintendo platform that I think are great for kids and families. Let's dive in. LEGO Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. There have been LEGO Star Wars games before, but not like this. Skywalker Saga lets you play through all three Star Wars trilogies in spectacular LEGO fashion. Not only that, but the gameplay has been updated and improved when compared to LEGO games of the past. It plays like more of a third-person action game with a slightly more in-depth combat system. It's still very approachable, but it feels like it's stepped up the quality when compared to the other LEGO games. The only real negative that I can think of is the local co-op. Skywalker Saga forces you to play in vertical split screen with no option to change it to horizontal. This means that your view is severely limited when playing with a friend. It's actually a pretty big bummer because otherwise it's a great game to play with your kids, spouse, or other gaming partner. Other than that, if you're a fan of Legos, the LEGO games, or Star Wars, you can't really go wrong with this one. The Yooka-Laylee series. I'm bundling two games into one here. The first Yooka-Laylee game was attempting to be a spiritual successor to 3D platformers of the past like Banjo-Kazooie. It was released to okay reception, but it didn't set the world on fire. I personally enjoyed what I played of it and thought it was a fine game that got bonus points for nailing the tone of the games it was inspired by. The second game in the franchise, Yooka-Laylee and the Impossible Lair, kept the same characters and world, but changed up the gameplay from 3D platformer to 2D, this time drawing inspiration from games like Donkey Kong Country. This entry was received much more positively from the industry. The gameplay was tight and the levels were fun and full of imaginative ideas. The core idea that the game was built around is also unique. This idea is that Yooka and Laylee are attempting to make it through the Impossible Lair to defeat the evil villain of the game. This can be attempted at any time, but it is extremely challenging, and you can only be hit once or twice before failing. However, as you explore the other levels in the game, you rescue a member of the Battalion that will give you an extra hit point. So by playing the game, you are making the Impossible Lair possible to finish. I had a great time with Impossible Lair, and if you are only going to check out one game from the series, it's the one I would recommend you play. However, I do think the first game is fun in its own right as well. Sonic Frontiers. The Sonic games are a mixed bag, so you may disagree with this pick, but I like Sonic Frontiers. This is the Sonic game that tried to take ideas from Breath of the Wild and integrate them into the formula that the Blue Hedgehog is known for. Opinions vary on how well that worked. The way this game is structured is there are big zones for you to explore as Sonic. This works really well in the way that it lets you feel the speeds that Sonic can move. There are puzzles littered all over these open levels that you must complete in order to progress. I can't call them environmental puzzles because they aren't really part of the environment, they're just there. Ultimately, this doesn't matter because they're fun to solve. Most of them are really simple, so you constantly feel like you're making progress. There are mini-bosses throughout the world that once defeated, will allow you to enter cyberspace. This is where the classic Sonic gameplay lives. These levels are the 2D and 3D experiences that we've all come to know and love. Eventually, you will fight a big boss in the open world level and progress to the next open world level. This is mostly just a palette swap as the gameplay stays pretty much the same. I know Sonic games aren't for everyone, and I know this game won't be for everyone, but I had fun with it and I think it's worth looking into. I'm personally excited to see the series trying new things, and I think whatever comes next could be truly great if they stick with this formula and refine it just a little bit. Sackboy: A Big Adventure. All of the games I've talked about so far can be played on both Xbox and PlayStation. However, this one is exclusive to PlayStation. While that is a bummer, I still think it's a game worth trying if you have access to it. Sackboy: A Big Adventure is a charming 3D platformer from the world of the Little Big Planet games. You don't have to know anything about those games to enjoy this one though. I had never played them before hopping into Big Adventure. The levels are very creative and a lot of fun to explore. Sackboy is able to slap at will, roll around, nosedive, pick up objects, and flutter jump, to name just a few of his moves. And they can be chained together to create combos that allow skilled players to travel greater distances. You don't need to be skilled to progress through the levels though. There's a nice balance here when it comes to difficulty. There's also co-op, so you and your child can play together. Actually, up to 4 people can play together. Players are able to unlock and create costumes for their Sackboy, which allows for self-expression and motivation to explore the levels thoroughly. Like I said, it's unfortunate that this is only playable on PlayStation, but if you have one, give Sackboy: A Big Adventure a go. So there you have it. Those are some games I would recommend for kids or families outside of Nintendo. This obviously isn't all of the games out there that would fit on this list, so if there are games you would recommend, drop them in the comments below. And if you want me to make more videos like this, let me know that in the comments below as well. That's all I have for now. Thanks for watching.